Hi everyone, and welcome to Antiques Tarot. I am here today to show you the Shadeux Oracle by Intuitive Tasha, which was on my wish list when I won it in a giveaway from their site. So that was really exciting. It comes in a tuck box. I got a lovely thank you card, which appears to be on some nice recycled paper, and I'm going to put it in this holder here. And it came with this nice black velveteen bag, which I appreciate because I pack up my boxes and put them away, and so I appreciate a good bag. So here we go. It says on the back, the deck was designed for those who are in need of uncovering what is preventing them from progressing in life and also spirituality. It will help get to the core, the deep-rooted issues, and to help you face them so you can live a happy and fulfilled life. The illustrations are colorful and artistic. It is also a way to balance the reading so that it isn't all dark, gritty, and serious. Shadow work is necessary. You have to face the dark so that you can truly walk in the light. You need to see the things about you that you don't want to see. It is necessary, and that is capitalized. It's time to live the shadow. It's time to live life shadow free. Feel it, heal it, move forward. And you can check out Intuitive Tasha on YouTube and Instagram and intuitivetasha.com. And I totally recommend. So these are the card backs, all right, and we have a little fold out here. The Shadeux Oracle, the book, The Shadeux Oracle, a deck by Intuitive Tasha. Oh, I see what it says in the back, which I find amusing. And I will, okay, it says, trust your intuition. That's how you read this deck. That's how you read so many decks. Trust your intuition. Sorry, loves, there's no actual guidebook. After meditating and listening to what was in my spirit, I decided not to have a guidebook. If you were led to purchase this deck, Spirit wanted you to truly work on believing in the messages you receive from your intuition and your spirit team. This deck is meant to take you out of your comfort zone and to realize your true power. Actually, this is entirely why I bought this deck. Because the message style on the deck, the message style of the art is useful for me personally for intuitive messages. These are the card backs. These are really nice cardstock. They are flexible. They are shiny, and I like them. Okay, I'm going to bring up my small card holder. I have a large one from Sparkle Divine Tarot. Amazing. Okay, and let's start with these cards. So the first one up here is Renewed Soul. Let me move this closer. All right. Renewed Soul. Just look at the image and the detail here. We see pencils because, you know, part of it is of your own creation. And we see inside of her into her soul, and we see like this beautiful sky image and the birds, and, you know, we even have birds flying out from there. And then we see the sky swiped over her eyes, the window to the soul. This is art in my style. We all have our own styles, and that's the amazing thing about there being so many creators. But because I like the clear graphic style, health, because for me, intuition is very visual, and so I often see images superimposed onto whatever or whoever I'm looking at or talking to. And that's why I like these art styles. I like it in general, but also I find it easier to read. Health is so necessary. And, you know, there's a lot we need to pay attention to in our health in order to enjoy our lives as we get older. And being in my mid-40s, that's so real. Okay, herbal healing. You know, there's different ways we need to look after our health, and we have like herbal healing tied into this one with the apple and the avocado. But herbal healing often calls us to do more, a more holistic approach. Like, look at the whole aspect of it, the spiritual aspect, the physical aspect, in that connection back to earth and magics. Intuition. I like this. This is what it feels like my brain looks like. You know, when those intuitive messages are coming in. And I like this all starry nebula like in the brain, because in my beliefs, I believe like the intuitive messages we receive are coming from the star world. Codependency. This is a necessary card. When we're marginalized, you know, and from my experience, that says indigenous woman, you know, poly relationships, queer relationships. When we're marginalized in various ways, we codependency is often a negative reactive trait we pick up in that desperation to have love and to be cared for and to care for others. And it often comes from a place of trauma. And, you know, it's not like, oh, they're codependent problem. Oh, they're codependent. There are issues that need to be worked on. Oh, you're codependent. Self, there's some issues I need to work on. You know, and I recognize this because I definitely, when I was younger, was really, really codependent in relationships before I realized that how connected undoing it was to healing, or that I was codependent. Sun. There is Egyptian glyphs in this sun. This face is absolutely gorgeous. You know, this is why this is one of many reasons why I prefer purchasing from other Black, Brown, Indigenous creators of color, because we know there's no such thing as an ambiguous face. We all have different features. We all have different facial features. They come from our ancestors and our background. And I love the various attention to facial features throughout this deck. It's one of the things I noticed when I was looking at it online. But it's also one of the things I know that I routinely notice in decks created by other folks of color. I notice it because it doesn't happen very well from Euro descent folks. Okay, cut the cord. You know, we often think that cut the cord is, you know, not necessarily a technological social media da-da-da-da-da kind of thing, but in our realities today, it can be that also. There's times we need to be told that. I probably need this card more than my teenage children, and I'm saying this to give them props at the moment. I have a bunch of teenage and young adult children who have decided to do this in their lives. They use social media very, very little. Narcissism. You know, sometimes when we first meet someone, we're like, oh, confidence. And sometimes that turns out to be exactly what that is. And sometimes it's not. It's narcissism, and that's not something we always see till we're deep into a relationship with somebody. So heads up. Important. Also, this is a shadow deck. There's areas in our lives where we each need a heads up to like, hey bitch, look at where you're a narcissist. And check that spot out a little bit more. Music. We need this. We need music and dance when we're healing ourselves. We just do. It's probably like, I think, one of the most healing things. You know, when you're depressed, what do? Put on a song. When you're happy, put on a song. When you're going on, you know, it's so important. Karmic. Or karma. I love the, like, intertwining, not design, for karma because, you know, it's so tied up in our lives. And I like this as a card. There's times when, like, what's going on in our life is karmic, and we need to take a serious look inward as to how we brought that on. There's times in our lives where we need to hand our issue over to karma. And in order to maintain a sense of ourselves, this is something I went through when I once had a really, really bad breakup with a really toxic narcissist. And so the breakup was 10 times worse. And I couldn't bring myself to fight back on their level. And so I handed it over to karma. And karma did so much more than I ever would have had the power to do. Freedom. Knuckle tattoos. All cups are bad. Ain't that the truth? I love that there's like knuckles on here too, because like we have to fight back if we want freedom. No one's going to give us freedom. If that wasn't learned during emancipation, I don't know when we'll learn it. Nobody can give us freedom. We must fight for it. We must take it. We must destroy the chains and the systems. We must understand that absolutely nobody involved in it, no matter how nice they might seem on the surface, can remain untouched. We need the attitude. All cops are bad. All judges are bad. You know, all social workers. Sorry, but if you're in systems that uphold the structures of oppression for Black, brown, indigenous people of color, you're bad. You're bad, you're bad, you're bad. All of them. And we need to break those ourselves. No one's going to do it for us. This is a fight we have to take. We have to throw on our bloody knuckles and use everything available to us to do so. So that one day we might see an olive branch. One day we might see peace. Not offered to us. I don't trust peace that's offered. Peace is something that comes after you destroy what was preventing it. I like this card because I can read it how I need to. Two-faced. When others are two-faced, when we are two-faced, this is a Shadeux Oracle, so we need to look at these rough things in us. Like, we want to say, I'm never two-faced, but we all have an area in our lives where we are prone to less than ideal behaviors. Fear. Fear prevents us from seeing so many things. And we do it to ourselves. We cover up our own eyes. And we don't want to see that, you know, we're not seeing reality. We're seeing through the eyes of fear, but so often that's exactly what's going on. Gossip. Sometimes we do need to be told, that is not needed information you plan on sharing out there today. That is nothing but gossip. Unity. I like that unity is the raised fist, because the reality is we are only going to find unity with those who think we're valuable enough to fight for and to fight with. this deck, this card, like the earth is just glowing. The stars that create her dress is beautiful. It is truly, truly beautiful. I love that, you know, she's covered in the star world, because to me, I'm not a fan of Christianity. Having been a scoop survivor, you know, Christianity was used to terrorize and commit genocide in the past and today on indigenous folks. I believe in spirit beings and star people, and in this angel card I can see a star being, and she's not white. Trust. And then we have so we have all these, this is fascinating. So we have all these words around here. Trust me, I didn't cheat, I will pay you, I have to work late, I won't hurt you, and so on and so forth. You know, it's important to remember that we shouldn't always trust these words in these messages. But the other thing I think it's important to look at in trust is our own words. How trustworthy are we being? Often when we don't mistrust somebody, we should look at their words and see if it's their words that are untrustworthy. And then we need to look at our own words. Because a lot of times, this particularly in relationships, our mistrust of partners has to do with our own behavior being completely untrustworthy. And because our own behavior is completely untrustworthy, we then project it onto our partners and say, I don't trust you, I don't trust you, I have no evidence for this. Evidence is in the words. Look at their actual words. Look at your actual words. Which one is untrustworthy? Strength. You know, I love this. Lion's strength is like not just in their build in their body, but in their knowledge and confidence and belief that they are strong, that they are kings of the animal kingdom. Dreams. I'm just looking at the pillow, feathers, you know, an eye mask. In this pillow, I'm not sure how well it shows on my camera, but this pillow goes from white into a really light blue and these beautiful clouds. It's very dreamlike. Success. This is something I look for in decks. What is the color of the person on your cards representing success? Or in tarot, the 9 of coins. What are the color of them? If you made a diverse deck, I mean, this is the benefit of buying from other creators of color, is where are those subtle placements. And I strongly dislike cards where, or decks where cards that represent, you know, success and such, are white, because it already feels like that is the reality in the world, and we need to be reminded that we can find success in various ways too. And I like that he's contemplating it. I really like that he's contemplating it, because there's so much to success that we need to contemplate in order to receive it. Is, you know, what's the goal, da-da-da. Fertility. I like this, like, gentle, like, watery green. Because, you know, earth, water, fertility. We have energy cleansing. We have 2 medicines on here that have been endangered by New Agers. And frankly, frequently misused. White sage is not a general overall cleansing. Cedar certainly is. But most of my clients and myself are mostly indigenous, also other people of color. So I don't mind telling our own people to use our medicines. I would be careful to, well, I would trust that I wouldn't draw this card if I was reading for somebody who Dees didn't belong to. Or I would use it to be like, Are you actually cleansing energy, or are you bringing in more negative energy by your misuse? Sexuality. Neon light turned on. Turned on. Observe. How often do we need to be told to do this? That what we're seeing, pay closer attention. Make sure you're observing this as you should be. Vengeful. And we have a poppet with a pin, a hat pin, a poke pin to be used. I love the background. I love the depth and the motion of the background, in puppet. It's so many ways.
Mom, I'm going to pee.
Okay. I'm not totally against vengeance. I think it 100% has its place, and sometimes it doesn't. Shadow Self. Because this is why we're using this deck. The need to work on the shadow self. And you see deep down inside. Get to the bones of the matter. Ancestral. Super important in shadow work. Super important to have this card in shadow work, because ideally that's what you are doing. When you're working on your shadow selves, you are, you're healing yourself, but ideally it's ancestral healing too. When we work on this deep level of shadow healing, it gives us the ability to heal 7 generations back and 7 generations forward of the ancestors, that aren't even here yet. And that healing, shadow work is ancestral healing, forwards and backwards. Karmic relationships. Man, they're brutal. Sometimes they're less brutal when you know. I had a karmic relationship. I was fully aware going in this was a karmic relationship. I essentially served as an offer of another path, and they didn't choose it. And anyway, they hurt, they painful. There's this super intense draw because there's a karmic lesson to be learned in that relationship, and so it really does hurt. And it's important to let go of it in healthy ways. Deception. I love the use of the pink shadow and lighting on here. It really makes me want to, sink into the colors and the imagery. It really, really does. Which is something deception does to us. Genetic. That's something to know in, doing shadow work. Trauma gets passed down through our genes. It imprints on our DNA. And it has like those imprints. And that's part of the ancestral healing is we need to heal that damaged, traumatized DNA in order to not pass it down. Seduction. Doesn't that just make you want to kiss her? That lips and that lollipop. Yep. Seduction. I like that this, okay. So, see the little dots on there? I love it. I love that texture put in. It brings so many other layers, including, that sense of how often we are seduced online. Self-love, body positive. Is it positivity or positive? Positive. Yep. And, this is fascinating. Yeah. There's a phone down here and these love messages coming up, but that's not where self-love comes from. It comes from yourself. It's reinforced by others, but it comes and it starts with the self. You need this card. I was a dancer and competitive gymnast when I was younger for much of my life. And it has huge impacts on my body now. And this is absolutely a part of my self-care practice in order to maintain my body in the middle age portion of my life and moving forward with that. And sometimes I really do need reminders, especially living in this extra small space right now. We're in a trailer while we wait to build our tiny home. And I've had to find really creative ways to manage that materialism. You know, if you know me, that I think this is a huge problem in our lives, and it's a problem that impacts people. It impacts people we don't see, and we don't know, and we aren't ever going to see, and we aren't ever going to know, and we really need to consider that in our lives. You know, why do I want this? What's the purpose? Have I gone too far? And it's definitely something brought to us by Euro descent folks. Trapped. You need to wait. I'm getting close. I mean, do I need to add anything to this image? I think it says it all. Secrets. We have this textured portion again, which I really do appreciate.
X.
Yep, it's an X because they are not opening up their lips. They are keeping that information a secret. They're telling secrets one way or another. War yourself. Love. And although we have like this one big, we do have others on here too. I like it. I like it. Confidence. It's just exuding, is it not? And look at that sky in that background. Like, I'm telling you, this shit was built by confidence. Confidence has its positives. Confidence has its negatives. Its positives, its negatives. Childhood trauma. Needed. Childhood trauma. It has huge impacts on the shadow work we need to do as we grow up and as we get older. Double-minded. The Gemini, I relate. She's kind of scowling. It's like consistent through both sides of this double-mindedness because it's a difficult place to be in. It's a difficult place to be in. Family. The art in these cards is gorgeous. I like the art because it's it has an edge to minimalism to it and clean lines, and yet the detail is intense. It's just not, it's subtle and not overwhelming. Gamble. There's times to take a gamble, and there's times where that gamble is going to come back. Oh, like, if you're doing shadow work, you absolutely need to be doing writing and journaling. To look back, to see your progress, and because it's a hugely intuitive process to write and journal and to just, it should be, let go and then go back and read like what came out of that deep subconscious. Sabotage. Oh, I like the shaking hands, like in the background. Because guess where sabotage frequently comes from? Those you've partnered and made deals with, or people are partnering and making deals for you. Addiction. Hard card, needed card. Hard card, needed card. Saw another deck with an addiction card, and the person represented was black, and it was by a white creator, and I was like, no. Guess where our addictions came from? They came from Euro descent folks. They're the ones who brought them to us. Plus, addiction comes from trauma, also brought to us from them. And as the creators of it, they should be the ones representing such an issue on these cards. Moon. I love it. I love it. Like how we got like the eclipse and all these phases and all these eclipses. It's gorgeous. The art's just gorgeous. As is the art here for the chakra card. That's gorgeous. Look at those constellations in there. Forgiveness. It's so hard for us to give. It's so hard for us to accept. Sometimes we shouldn't. Many times we should. Free spirit. She's gorgeous. She looks like someone who's going to go off on an adventure with you. Or on her own without you. Compass. Yeah. We need that internal moral compass. And sometimes we need it to be a lot more external too. Oh, I like this. Mending. Mending. Healing is a process. Healing is 100% a process, and it takes time, and we are mending in between. Influencer, we got social media. Influencer. It is an important thing to look at within and externally too. You know, there's times we need influencers, and there's times we need to be aware. Meditate. Oh, look at the serenity of this face. And we have divination. And we've got so many symbols of divination here. It's the depth in this book, these cards, like, you see it, you know, because when you're looking at a card, it's never flat back in your visual reality, and that has been implemented in the card. So there is a card that I have taken out. As an Indigenous person, I take such a card out of my decks every time I come across one with it in it. And I discuss it frequently. I'm not discussing it here because this is a deck by a black creator, and I am not publicly discussing difference of representation publicly. Those are private things that we both need. Like, Black and Indigenous communities need healing between each other privately because of colonialism and what it's done to us. And so that's all I'm going to say about it, but I did remove it. And this is the Shadeux Oracle. I'm absolutely so thrilled and excited to have this and to get to be able to use it. I want to show you, like, this deck's just gorgeous. This deck is just gorgeous. It moves. Oh, people always want to know how it shuffles. Let's see. Beautifully. I can tell you right now, it is going to shuffle beautifully, other than the fact that I have super small hands. And I often don't shuffle this way with my tarot cards. Oh, I used to, you know. And then I regretted it. And I can do it like this most of the time. And look, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. I know so many people say they have small hands. You want to know how small my hands are? I buy children's mitts and children's shoes. That's how small. And this is just beautiful. And the way these cards slide is going to be so amazing for how I frequently shuffle and find my cards. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Observe. So I am incredibly thankful to Intuitive Tasha for putting this up on a giveaway and that I won. And I can't wait to get to use this in regular practice. See you around, folks.